Hi and welcome back to Catholic Mom and Daughter. It is just me, Kate, today, and I'm going to be going over all of my 12th grade homeschool curricula. So it is August now, which is insane. I have no idea where this year has gone. But unfortunately, since it's August, that also means that school is going to be starting really soon. I do not want to go back to school at all, but I have one more year. So like I just said, I'm going to be going over all of our curricula picks for my 12th grade year. I did a video just like this last year for my 11th grade curricula picks. I'll have it linked if you're interested. But I think without any further ado, let's get into what we've chosen. So I have my whole list here of what I'm looking at, and that is English, math, religion, Spanish, history, science, and then a whole long list of books that I get to read. But I think I'm going to start with English because that is one of my main subjects for this year. So for English, we chose The Power in Your Hands, Writing Nonfiction in High School. So last year I did the one-year adventure novel, which was entirely focused on creative writing. So this year we decided it would be wise to go in the opposite direction and get a program that focuses on nonfiction writing. So this one we just found online, different recommendations, and it has all sorts of stuff that falls into the category of nonfiction. So things like exposition and essay writing, comparing and contrasting, all sorts of fun topics like that. It's got literary analysis. Doesn't that sound fun? So basically all sorts of essentials that you need to know for nonfiction writing. I don't know a whole lot about this program, but from what I can tell, it has different sections like I just read off, and the sections are broken down into lessons, and the lessons have a reading component and then also a practice component where you're writing or editing or whatever you're doing. So it has the student book. It also has a teacher's manual. Again, I don't know a lot about it. We're just going to have to see how it goes, but that is our English pick for this year. So moving on to math. Math was a little bit interesting this year because, I've done my algebra, I've done my geometry, all that stuff, and I have no interest in things like calculus or statistics. So we decided to go with trigonometry for this year. We started looking into trig programs online, trying to see if we could even find one, because there aren't a lot out there. But in our research, we did discover that Life of Fred does have a trigonometry book. So this was honestly the last thing I expected, to be going back to the Life of Fred series in my senior year. I remember using these books in elementary school, yet here we are. So it is obviously for high school, but it does still have those like classic Life of Fred elements with the characters and the stories, and then it just has the practice problems and the solutions. So I have to say I'm kind of a little bit excited to be going back to this series though. It's so nostalgic for me. So we'll see how it goes. It's a thick book, but it could be definitely a lot of fun. Now, if we finish the trig book before the end of the year, we're probably going to go on to Life of Fred Financial Choices. There is some math in here. I don't know how heavy it is on math, but in any case, it would be good to have a review of personal finance. So this is sort of our backup. I can't say for sure if we'll get to it or not, but it is worth mentioning. So now moving on to history. This one, along with science, is a little bit of a free pick this year. I don't need anything specific in history, so we're just kind of seeing what's out there and just choosing whatever looks fun. So I'm not 100% sure all that I'm going to be doing for history. The second semester is completely in the dark right now, but I can tell you that we're going to be starting in the first semester with the history of Australia from Homeschool Connections, taught by Philip Campbell. So I've said it a bajillion times how much I love Philip Campbell as a teacher, and the history of Australia just looks fascinating. When I first saw that he was going to do this class, it just clicked in my brain how little I actually know about Australia and about its history. So I was like, you know what, let's give that class a try. It looks like a lot of fun. So that's what we're going to be starting with in history, and I'm quite excited for it. So science, there is actually not too much I can say about science. It's the other free pick. It's kind of still a little bit up in the air. We're looking at Wondrium, that platform, for our science classes. We used it for physics. It was great. We've learned so much from all these teachers on Wondrium. So I've been looking through their science section, just seeing what appeals to me. And one of the things was astronomy. That's actually a class that's been in the back of my head for a couple of years. And so now that I finally have some free reign, I thought maybe it would be worthwhile checking out an astronomy class. So I have a class called Great Heroes and Discoveries of Astronomy, which is a little bit of science and a little bit of history. That sounds very good. And I have a feeling I'm probably going to be starting with that class. Other than that, I'm not really sure what's going to come next. They have so much on any topic you could possibly think of. So I'm just gonna play it by ear, see what looks good. They've got like an oceanography class that looks interesting as well. So I really wish I could say more about science, give you a better idea of what we're doing, but all I can say for sure now is probably that astronomy class. So for religion, we are going to again be using a homeschool connections class, and that is High School Theology 401. The Didache, or Moral Life in Christ. It's 2 parts and taught by Trent Horn. So we would do part 1 in the fall, part 2 in the spring, and it's based around the Didache, which is an early church document supposedly written by the apostles that expands on Jesus' teaching in the Gospels. But it's not a terribly long class. It's average. It's about 12 weeks, and it has the lectures, it has reading, and then it has quizzes. Now, I have been presented with 2 different routes for this class. I could either do the class as it is, doing all of the work, or I could start the Bible in a Year with Father Mike and do that while I just listen to Trent Horn's class every single week. And I am actually leaning towards that sort of dual route with the Bible and the class. I've been thinking on my own about starting the Bible in a Year. I'm very, very interested. I've only ever heard glowing, amazing reviews for the Bible in a Year. So I would like to start it. I probably will have some religion books thrown into the mix as well, just get some reading in there, but that is what we're looking at right now. Then quickly touching on Spanish, I'm still going to be working with my aunt who speaks Spanish. We're going to be doing more directed studies and conversational Spanish. We're not following any sort of program. It's still taking shape right now. We're still working on it, but it is going to be happening. My 5th year Spanish, here we go. And then we're also going to be using 52 Lists for Happiness. It was just a random bookstore find, and it's weekly journaling inspiration for positivity, balance, and joy. It just looks like a fun little prompt. You have a list that you get to make. We're going to be doing it once a week. It's not something that we're going to be discussing. It's more of a private thing unless we want to talk about it, but it is still going to be an assignment. So now here at the end, I want to show you some of the books that we're going to be reading this year. Some of them we have physically, we have a hard copy of the book, and then others we have chosen because they're on audio. We have both been loving listening to audiobooks lately, so we figure if we can get some of those school books onto audio, it will help save us time, and we can listen to them while we're walking or doing chores, etc. So let me go ahead and show you some of those books. Christy, Around the World in 80 Days, Dear Bob and Sue, The Invisible Man, How to Make Great Decisions, The Other Side of Beauty, and The 5 Musketeers. So that's just some of the ones that are on the list that we know are on audio, though probably some of them in the stack that I'm staring at right now are also available to listen to. So some of the books that we have physical copies of: Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis, Raider, The Case of Benedict Arnold, How to Read a Book, To Kill a Mockingbird, The Watsons Go to Birmingham, In the Shadow of His Wings, Escape from Slavery, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, The House of 60 Fathers, Hittite Warrior, A Girl of the Limberlost, and Mission to Cathay. Okay, so there you have it. That is a look at the curricula we're going to be using for my 12th grade year. So let us know down in the comments if you have used any of these programs and what you thought about them, if you have any good book recommendations, or if you have any recommendations for science courses. I would love to hear about those as well. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!